Resident Evil 4. Wow.
What a
What a
game.
game. Glad I finally get to talk about it on the show. So Resident Evil 4 is what, 20 something, 19 years old at this point. Got a remake this year. This year has been so good for games that maybe you forgot that. But Capcom did an awesome thing where they decided, hey, we're going to put out that last missing part of Resident Evil 4, Ada Wong's side story, Separate Ways, which was, I believe, originally part of the PS2 version of the game, not on the GameCube version of the game. That was sort of like the, hey, it's coming to PS2. You know, this is what you get for people who want to double dip. You get this extra stuff. And then when the game got ported to Wii and 360 and Wii and everything else, all of that stuff is in one complete package. But when Resident Evil 4 Remake launched this year, it told Leon Kennedy's entire story through this village to save the president's daughter. A lot of, president saving on this episode this week. And everyone was like, this is a fantastic game. You guys went above and beyond on everything. Where's Mercenaries mode? And Capcom's like, give us a few weeks. And they're like, here's Mercenaries mode. And they were like, well, where's Separate Ways? Where's the Ada Wong stuff? And they're like, yeah, we're working on it. No comment. And then recently they were just like, oh, by the way, it's out in a few days. It's done. And P.S. it's $10. And I think some of us were like, $10, huh? Oh, that's interesting for like a 2 or 3 hour game. But this is them kind of buttoning up all the leftover details on Resident Evil 4, one of the best games of the year. I did an entire video this year about how this is the best video game remake ever made. I stand by that more than ever now. And so I picked up assignment or Separate Ways basically the moment it dropped, and it was kind of crap because like that I had slept like crap the night before and done therapy that morning. I had a long conversation with my therapist about how I need to work on getting 7 or 8 hours of sleep every single night. She's like, this is what you can do to circumvent that. And, here's some breathing exercises and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, thanks. Great notes. Awesome. Then Separate Ways came out 9 p.m. that night, and I stayed up until like 2 a.m. playing it. So sorry. I'll talk to you next week. But what Separate Ways does is if you've played Resident Evil 4 and you're kind of uninitiated on this, or you need a little refresher, Separate Ways tells Ada Wong's story coinciding with what's happening with Leon S. Kennedy through the events of Resident Evil 4. She's a classic Resident Evil character, and she's been kind of kicking around for a long time. And in this version of the game, she is basically interacting with stuff that you saw Leon do, or going, kind of circumventing or diagonally around environments that you played through already in Resident Evil 4. What's cool about that is that Ada Wong has her own distinct moveset. She's got a grappling hook. She's like a little bit quicker, a little bit more dynamic. Her humor is a lot more dry and less kind of like, just more sardonic and less campy, I would say. And digging into this campaign, it just kept going. Like I think my playtime doing all of the side missions and everything, the challenges and stuff like that, was somewhere between like 9 and 10 hours, which is crazy because I swear like the original Separate Ways was like 2 or 3 hours, maybe 4 if you did everything. But they added a whole bunch of really cool details here. There's a bunch of like really awesome little nods to Resident Evil canon, like that weird things like Leon Kennedy loses his jacket at one point in Resident Evil 4. It's never actually addressed. He's just not wearing it at one point. And here, like, there's like one of those little merchant challenges where you have to find it. And it's just like one of those little details that I just loved. What's also cool here is they added a whole bunch of new encounters. A while back and you can see one of them right here, like the full gondola thing has returned. I did a video on Beyond when Resident Evil 4 Remake first came out of like, obviously gushing with praise over how much I love this game. But, here's a bunch of things that were missing from the remake, one of which was obviously the laser hallway, the U5 boss fight with that weird, kind of like a nasty scorpion man. And then there was the, the whole gondola ride where you're shooting Spanish villagers and they're like, ah, 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 and they're falling down the cliffs and stuff like that. All of that is back here. So like they basically took all of the stuff, all the loose ends that were dangling over from the end of Resident Evil 4, and they threw them in this 9-hour long campaign that has new boss fights, whole new ways to interact, a bunch of new like cool toys to play with, great challenges and stuff like that. And if you play the original game and you did all the optional challenges that were kind of in the margins, like use a gun a certain amount of times, go through the whole game without beating the merchant. I know Jada like crushed through all of that stuff. I was in a Slack channel with her before the game came out back a couple months ago. and just basically talking about all of this. It's all of that is back here. They added all this new stuff. So like this is like genuinely, I think, one of the best expansions I've ever seen in gaming, especially for the price. Like for $10 to get a 9-hour story that has multiple difficulty settings, tons of optional side content, tons of optional challenges, and just like all these new cinematics, boss fights, just merchant dialogue. They remixed all the music in the game. Like it just keeps going. I just love it so, so much. And I'm just really, really happy that this game got the love it deserves from the people who made it, because this game feels like it was made by people who loved the original Resident Evil 4. They made us this special treat this year, and I'm just so happy it's here.
That is so awesome. That is so good to hear, man. I love that it also like that is the best case scenario for that, where you understand there have to be some concessions when you do a massive sprawling remake of what was already a massive sprawling game and you completely modernize every aspect of it. They're gonna have to cut some content. Surprise, it's actually DLC. Like what a wonderful just a psych. Like here it is. Enjoy.
It's great. And PSA on PSN right now, this game is under $40, and so like with that and the expansion, you can get the full thing for $50, which is $10 less, and they're selling the iPhone version for more. And
it's absolutely bonkers.
And it doesn't have touchscreen overlay, and your PS5 probably won't explode when you're playing it. But I digress.
Well, moral of the story.
It's a great deal.
There's two games that just got a huge, massive bunch of updates. They're already good games. They're better games now, and they're weirdly on sale. So that's an option.